Analysis. Next Man United manager, Luis Enrique, Julian Nagelsmann and Thomas Tuchel among Jamie Carragher picks for Old Trafford role. Sky Sports' Jamie Carragher analyses the candidates for Man United's head coach role. Carragher says Thomas Tuchel, Eddie Howe, Julian Nagelsmann and Luis Enrique are good fits at Old Trafford. Carragher also said Michael Carrick would not be a good choice as the club need a special boss. Jamie Carragher has outlined his four-man shortlist to be the next Manchester United head coach, suggesting that their next permanent boss must be a candidate with the right energy and drive to lead the club forward. United parted ways with Ruben Amorim earlier this month after a disastrous 14-month reign at the club and have since appointed Michael Carrick as head coach until the end of the season. Carrick secured an impressive 2-0 win against rivals Manchester City in his first game at the helm, but Carragher has insisted Old Trafford needs a special leader. What Carragher said, he's been in the Premier League before. He's obviously a top manager. The thing I like about him is I still think he's got that energy and drive and spikiness about him. He's gone into the England squad, and he's ruffled feathers with some of the biggest players there. Now I'm not saying that has to happen in every job he's in, but there's something about him. He just feels like he would go to war for your club, and he'd be fighting against the other clubs, and he'd have something about him. Current role, Paris Saint-Germain. What Carragher said, you would absolutely have him all day. Now we see him as the best manager in Europe. He didn't have a good time at Celta Vigo, he didn't have a good time at Roma, but Barcelona still appointed him. Eddie Howe. Current role, Newcastle United. What Carragher said, I'm a huge fan of Eddie Howe. The type of football when Newcastle are at their best is high energy going forward, but the real thing I like is that you have to be able to handle the pressures of Manchester United. When you're in Newcastle and you live in that city, it's constant and he handles it brilliantly. Where I think he could also help is that Manchester United have a problem with young players. A lot of them don't go on to fulfill their potential, but I think Eddie Howe is a great coach. Julian Nagelsmann. Current role, Germany. What Carragher said, I don't know everything about him, but I do look at a coach with a big reputation, with a lot to prove in some ways. Why can't Carrick take the job? What Carragher said, I'm crossing out Michael Carrick. I go back to this question, do I believe this guy can win the league? I have to believe he can. I don't believe Man United will win the league with Carrick, or Chelsea will with Liam Rosenior. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you have to be special. I might be proven wrong. Why other candidates are not the right fit. Carragher also highlighted why other candidates, such as Xabi Alonso, Diego Simeone and Oliver Glasner, aren't suitable for the role. Jurgen Klopp will not be managing Manchester United. That is out. Xabi Alonso, he cannot do that. He can't, his affiliation with Liverpool. That can't happen. Carlo Ancelotti, for me, wouldn't have the energy or drive to get Man United back. Zinedine Zidane is a younger version of Carlo Ancelotti, but maybe I am wrong. Enzo Maresca is a no, but he is a really good coach. Xavi is one, at Barcelona, he won the league but enough experience for Manchester United. He only has a couple of years of experience as a manager. Roberto Martinez, if he does a brilliant job at Portugal, there is no doubt that Roberto is ready. The one thing he has not done in his career is manage an elite football club. He'd have to do something really special. Mauricio Pochettino is the same as Ancelotti. Chelsea went with Enzo Maresca as they wanted a young and energetic coach. Oliver Glasner, straight away, I'd say no because of the system. Andoni Iraola has done a brilliant job and is linked with top jobs, but Bournemouth to Man United is a big jump. This is the same for Marco Silva. I think the next step for them would be Tottenham. It feels more Tottenham-like for them. Roberto De Zerbi is a brilliant coach, but he is liable to go to war with the owners within 6 weeks. Diego Simeone is an interesting one. I was speaking to Gary Neville about United's DNA. It is interesting that Roy Keane and Gary have both mentioned Simeone at different points. That goes away from what a club's DNA is because he is a defensive coach. You can't ask a manager to change.